Nigeria marked another independence anniversary this week. It was a chance to hear from lawmakers on how they think the legislature has fared.
As Nigeria marks its 54th year of existence as a nation, it gives one the chance to look at how the National Assembly has performed its role during this time. Since Nigeria's independence in 1960, the legislature has hardly featured as a stable national institution. It has often been the target of military takeovers. Some lawmakers say the Nigerian legislature has witnessed many developments and contributed significantly to the country's democratic growth.
But that's on our responsibility as lawmakers. I don't think we have done badly. Looking at what has happened, no matter even the military interventions. But I believe that, we have been able to chunk out laws that are generally in the great interest of this country. So if you ask me as an individual to assess the lawmaking process or the lawmaking system or the legislature, as you may probably want to assess it, I will tell you that yes, they have done very, very well.
Even the qualifications of being members of the House of Assembly, member of the National Assembly in 1960 and 79 is different from what we have today. And we appreciate the people are now concerned to bring the people that are vibrant, that are educated, that know what is happening in Nigeria. And it contributes immensely to the development of the country.
Well, the legislature as an institution has not developed to where it should be. This is probably the last 3.5 years, I would say, has probably been the legislature probably came out on its own.
The issue of doctrine of necessity. It was one time that the legislature has to assert its constitutional authority to make sure that the nation does not derail or that the democracy is not truncated.
These contributions, however, have not been without its challenges.
It has not been easy. There have been a lot of inducements that have been rejected by members of the National Assembly. A lot of promises have been made and rejected just because we believe that Nigeria is greater than any of us. And what we do today is going to be history for tomorrow.
The electorate, the constituents, are expecting you to go and perform a function that is not yours, that's not within the ambit of the provision of the Constitution, going to do other work that is purely of the executive part. So until we begin to educate our electorate to know the functions and duties of a members of the parliament start from here and ends here, and then the functions of the duties and functions of the members of the executives start and ends there. Until we do that, we continue to have problems. The parliament today, they have problems. If you have this, they are overstretched.
One of the critical roles of the legislature is monitoring government ministries, departments and agencies to ensure that they implement the budget and carry out their responsibilities to the people.
The challenges for us as lawmakers to be able to achieve these is that of personal interest of the agencies or the directors or the ministers who are involved. And then ours is to expose, ours is to carry out our function, it's the executive to execute. We've done our best. The major challenge is that we have not been able to find a thin line between our job and that of the executive.
The executive too should see a parliament as a partners to the development of this country. We should not be seen as a parliament as checkmating, because sometimes the ministers, they see parliament as checkmating. But we have responsibility as a parliament, as enshrined in the Constitution, to expose corruption, to stop wastages, and so forth and so on. So the executive have to be educated in this emerging democracy, the functions of the parliament.
The biggest challenge we have in oversight is that no matter what recommendations we have, they are hinged and challenged by funds. I have been in a place where I went for oversight as a professor and as a lawyer that I am. I have been in oversight in locations and places that I thought the right thing is to close down that institution. But when you start taking it up with the heads of those institutions, they start telling you their limitation. Fund. And of course, you can't go beyond what you've got. We have almost a fixed level of 2.4 million barrels per day we produce, which is sometimes dropping. So we really have a limited income.
Another key function of the National Assembly is lawmaking. It is one function that has also had some challenges.
In the last 3 years, most of the motions and bills that we have passed in the floor that will have moved this country forward had not been assented to by Mr. President. The presidency has made our work so worthless, because even when you bring those bills that he has refused to assent to, it becomes for the fact that you have wasted money, resources, time, efforts, that we have spent in ensuring that those bills get to his table.
No, I think the problem we have with our lawmaking is is more of penalty lawmaking. We are so much involved in the laws of don't do this, don't do this. Look at the Indian model. A law that all bicycles must be made in India. A law that going forward, any cloth that is not made in Nigeria should not be worn. We members of the National Assembly can become an example. And that is where I think going forward by the 8th Senate, I want to see a situation where the laws are more focused on positive laws that are intended to create engine for development, not laws that are intended to punish people who are defaulting.
There are bound to be challenges, and life itself is not a very perfect system. There are challenges that have come up along the line, but the journey is a wonderful journey, and I think, the experience that have grown from the House is mostly the National Assembly, or even some states' House of Assembly. It's quite commendable, and I can tell you that as we sit today as a nation, we have some very, very good lawmakers that understand the business of lawmaking far more than what it used to be in the past. So as we grow, you realize that we get better on a continuous basis.
Lawmakers there speaking on the role of the legislature in Nigeria's historic growth. What do you think? Well, you can write to us through any of the addresses on the screen. I look forward to getting your reactions. Now, during the week, I spoke with a minority leader in the House of Representatives on the need for strong institutions in the country. Here is what he had to say.
I think the people have neglected, rather than point fingers at the government. And the government has a lot to blame. There's a lot to blame the government about. But those institutions have not been developed. Guess who really should have developed those institutions? Especially if government is not doing it. The people should have developed those institutions. Political institutions should have been, party institutions should have been developed by the people. The National Assembly should have been developed by the people. And you know how the people could have developed the National Assembly? If after every 4 years, for example, you find that the people you have sent to represent you are not representing you the way they should, based on issues, there should be no way of them returning back to the National Assembly. But if I think I can come here and do my own bidding and not represent you and not do your bidding and not act in your own best interest, and I know that I'm going to come back anyway, then I'm not beholden to you. I'll do whatever I want to do here and come back in 4 years' time, give you some paltry sum of money and come back to the National Assembly. That is what I mean by the people have not developed institutions. If the government will not do it, by laws we can actually shape an institution and build an institution. But the most important block that should be put in place, that should build the institution, is the people. The institution of the people. The Constitution is very clear. Sovereignty lies in the hands of the people. It's very clear. It's embedded in our Constitution expressly too. So I think people should begin to look inwards. When we talk about building institutions are not four walls in a vacuum. They're not physical structures. Institutions are based on people. And it is those people that should build the institution. The presidency will get away with whatever he wants to get away with because he knows that the people do not matter. The judiciary will do whatever they want to do if they know that there will be no outrage from the people and there will be no repercussions. The National Assembly, the third arm of government or another arm of government will do the same thing. It's as simple as ABC. You will get away with whatever you think you can get away with. But if you know you cannot get away with it, if you know the people are there for you to account to, it's about accountability.
Well, do you agree with his position? A very interesting position there indeed. Well, I'll look forward to your reactions to that also. We will be sharing some of these reactions with you when we return next week. Till then, I'm Lanre Lasisi.